Hello everyone, welcome to Masters of Brickjitzu, and today we're going to be going through the Garmadon issue 4 comic book. I'm joined here with Logan, aka Brick Dude.
Spoilers, obviously. If you haven't read the book, go pick it up. It's really good. It's probably the best one so far, which is great because every time we've read an issue of Garmadon, we've circled back to the conclusion of it's the best one yet. So, very high hopes for the 5th one. What do you think, Kyle? What was the story about? What happened?
Well, in this issue, we basically pick up with Mogra. He's kind of taken over, basically, with Garmadon being absent right now. So, he's reigning as the overlord, some would say. And then you see Garmadon sort of dealing with his own inner sort of like traumatic experiences and facing himself, and we're seeing like flashback moments here that sort of give us more information on the story here in the background between Garmadon and Mogra, and then also Wu as well involved in that, which is really interesting. So you gotta love that expansion on the lore. And then we sort of get into like Garmadon sort of getting snapped back into action here in the later half of the comic. So we get to see some of the Two Moon tea people, sort of like villagers, working together trying to get him out of this funk that he's in right now. And basically Garmadon sort of has more of that inner conflict, but this time with the same version of him that we saw, the more like terrifying version, I would say. And he's sort of going up against that. And then we see some stuff with the Great Devourer as well, which was really interesting, also expanding upon that, and him kind of just coming to this realization, sort of like thinking that he is the snake, and sort of just struggling with that between the evil and the good side there, as Garmadon usually does struggle with. And then by the end of the comic, we see
Garmadon is back.
He is back, baby. Yeah,
he is back. It was great. I really enjoyed it. The Sons of Garmadon are confirmed to enjoy bullying children. That's their favorite thing to do. The grand joke of New Mograton.
Yes.
And just the villagers being like, hey, what happened to old Mograton? And I mean, like, I, as the reader, when I read New Mograton, I had the exact same thoughts. And then a page later, when they were referencing it, I was like, okay, this is top tier story writing. They know what I'm wanting.
Oh yeah, stuff like that is great when you're like reading a story and you think that something's about to happen and you're imagining it, and then you flip the page and there it is. So, that's a great story.
Speaking of imagining, old Garma boy, he got jumped in his dreams by himself. So, little army of Garma dads, and then little Garma boy showing up there. So, lots of Garmadons in this book.
Good amount of Garmadon in this one, so
yeah, for sure. You get a real look into his mind, and it's just this idea of, well, was it the Devourer that made him evil, or was it himself wanting to be evil like this entire time? Which is a nice little idea to kind of seed in your mind. Like, yeah, the Garmadon Great Devourer conflict is there, but also how much of it was real, because as we talked about with Try a few weeks ago, Garmadon himself is an unreliable narrator.
It makes it really interesting with sort of seeing his memories, that they're very like, the way that they're put together, you just don't know how reliable is the information that we're getting, and how is Garmadon twisting it? Is it seeming worse than what it actually was, or is it seeming better? Is he trying to make it easier on his subconsciousness? And you just sort of don't know, but he's definitely torturing himself with them. And it's really interesting to see Garmadon being forced to relive it, and also seeming quite regretful about it as well. And it just always goes back to that really deep inner conflict with him, of that I think Garmadon's always been a character who's driven on this path towards destruction, and he thinks that it's sort of his destiny to be this ruler, but then it's sort of that idea of that deep down, is he like a good person? And that's really what this comic sort of questions as a whole, and specifically in this issue, of course, with all these flashbacks.
Yeah, and I mean, the whole idea at the end of Garmadon admitting he doesn't know what he wants to do. He's got a blank space. He can do anything that he wants to. He's the son of the first Ninjago master, but like, he fully admits to himself, literally, in his mindscape, that he doesn't know. And he's comforted, by little Garma boy, by, that's the first step in healing a divided heart.
I love that. It's like so exciting to sort of see Garmadon's future sort of being unknown, but also at the same time looking pretty bright as well. And I think it'll be interesting to see where he goes forward from here.
Let's talk about that flashback. This takes place during the Serpentine Wars, and we're kind of seeded with this idea of, was Magra part of the Elemental Masters? Just by the way that they talk about it. And I mean, if so, what was his role in the Elemental Masters? Was the Elemental Masters strictly elemental people, or was it just powerful people?
Exactly. That's the thing. What were like the requirements here for that group?
Exactly.
One aspect of the fight that I really like, not really based on story-wise here, but art-wise, I love that it takes place here in winter, and I love the way that that's depicted on the page here. I think it looks excellent. It's almost as good as seeing bears in the comic. I love winter, of course. Yeah, well, being a Canadian.
Love bears. Being a Canadian, exactly. You love bears and you love winter.
Exactly.
Speaking of the bears, we didn't see them this issue. This is now 2 issues we've been bearless. So, what the heck, Try? What's going on, man?
He's saving them.
You're
up.
Upsetting Kyle.
I'm holding out hope.
You're holding out hope. Maybe they'll just show up in the next issue where they're front and center on the cover. But, exactly. Who's to say?
Who's to say?
I mean, speaking of animals, though, this issue of the comic canonized horses to Ninjago. So that's a new thing.
That's an exciting thing. Who doesn't love to see a Lego horse? They're classic. But what are you sort of expecting for the future of the series?
I'm just I'm expecting things to happen. I'm expecting them to wrap up Magra. I would love for Magra as a character to not meet its end, but also I want them to leave it in a way to where they can pick up with Magra in the show, or they could pick up with him in another comic or something, because I want to see more of Magra.
I totally agree with you. I would definitely want to see a lot more of Magra as well. I think there's a lot that you can do with that character and sort of expand upon as well in other potential series. So I think that could be really cool. Of course, we don't know anything at this point, but definitely some exciting possibilities. If you are not reading this, be sure to pick up a copy of it, read through the series. It's a nice, easy read, a ton of fun, and definitely for any big Ninjago fan, they will absolutely love it. So I've been having a great time with it, as I'm sure you have as well.
Me too, honestly. It's been an incredible journey, and it's almost over, which is sad, but also cool, because, I don't like waiting for conclusions.
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. It's definitely hard to wait for the conclusion, but I think it's going to be well worth the wait. But do you want to tell the viewers when the next issue is going to be releasing?
Make sure you pick this comic book up. Just a reminder, issue 5 will be releasing on October 19th, 2022. So we've got just over a month until it comes out. But be prepared for that, because I'm sure it's going to be very cool. What about you, Kyle? You excited?
Yeah, I'm definitely super excited. I'm hoping to see some more bears in the next issue. I think that's going to be a super fun time. But for now, I think we're going to wrap it up here. I hope you all enjoyed this episode here on the issue 4 of the Garmadon series. Absolutely another amazing one. So can't wait for the next one. Stay tuned to MOB. And thank you so much for Logan joining me here for this review here. Definitely had a great time. So thanks so much, man. And thanks so much to everyone for watching.
Thank you so much for joining me, Kyle. Take care.